In my 5th year in business, I made one change that helped keep my business alive. I increased my prices. Hey everyone, it's your friendly neighborhood taxman here to talk about probably one of the hardest conversations you'll eventually have to have with your clients, increasing your prices. Now, as a business owner myself, I've had to have that conversation too. So I thought I would share a little bit of my experience and maybe it can help you navigate the best way to go about doing this. So, for the first 5 years of running Box Advisory Services, I kept my package pricing relatively the same. I didn't really make any significant changes. What was great for me was that my business just kept growing year after year. I was able to turn leads into recurring clients and at the same time extend my service offerings to existing clients. But what took me a while to realize was that the more my business grew, the more people I had to hire to facilitate the growth. And obviously, the more experienced my staff were, the higher their wages had to be. And let's be real, the inflation rate alone was enough to justify a look at my package price because basically all my costs have increased. And at the same time, you have to do the things that are going to help your business keep growing. That may mean training staff or introducing new processes to help make things more efficient. And all of this takes a lot of time and investment. I was doing all of this for my business, but I felt like I needed to do even more if I wanted to see an increase in my net profit. And at that point, I was treading dangerously close to burning out. And I was only 5 years in. It got to a point where my clients were picking up on it. In fact, one of my longest standing clients actually reached out to me and asked if everything was okay because I didn't seem like myself anymore. But there was just no time. I needed to pump out my next job. So I brushed it off. I took a deep breath and said, sorry mate, I'm good, everything's fine, I'm just a bit burnt out. He then told me that I needed a holiday, and that's when I realized that a holiday wasn't all I needed. I needed to change how I was running my business. If I kept going the way I was going, not only would I experience a full-on burnout, I wouldn't be able to keep running my business I had worked so hard to build. And I know I'm not alone on this. I think a lot of accountants who start their own business fall into the same trap. And the more I thought about it, the more I remembered all the conversations I had with my mentors over the years. And the one standout thing they all told me was to increase my prices for at least 5 to 10% each year. This way, I'll be able to continue the growth trajectory without having to work myself to the bone to cover my new costs and still make a good profit. Because of the pandemic and a whole host of all other factors, I decided not to listen to that advice and keep things the way they were. I was convinced that this was the only way I would be able to keep my clients around and that in the long run, it will pay off. After that conversation with my client, though, I decided I would start with a holiday and then come back fresh and ready to relook at my business model. And let me tell you, if you're thinking about taking that holiday, take it. It was the best thing I could have ever done. I came back more determined than ever, and I started reassessing a few things and looking at a few different scenarios. I found myself drifting towards my own mindset and thinking that surely if I just kept acquiring more clients, I'll make more profit. But when I actually put my accounting cap on and worked out what would happen if I took on X number of new clients, I realized that I would have to incur X amount of times more expenses. Then I looked at where I could cut costs. My biggest expenses were wages, software, and rent. My rent and software expenses were pretty modest. I was lucky enough to be able to rent my office space from an existing client. So I was paying half of what I would have if I was paying market rent. So nothing was going to change there. I cut software that I didn't need anymore, but didn't really make a massive difference in reducing my overall costs. That left me with my staff and their wages. And I was definitely not going to reduce wages and impact the morale of my team. I needed every single one of my team members on board because without them, my business wouldn't be growing in the first place. I eventually realized there was no way around this. I was going to have to increase my prices. So I did some market research and realized that all of my competitors had increased their prices years ago. My prices were so much lower than theirs, yet they were still growing and doing really well. That's when I asked my accountants and sales team what they thought about our increases of prices. I also communicated with the team to get their feedback, and we reached an agreement on the price increase that everyone was happy with. And to be honest, everyone agreed on increasing prices. They also felt like our services were too cheap for the time and service we provided to our clients. Now it was the time to go back to the drawing board and decide on the best way to roll out these price increases. I first tested out the new fee structure with new clients to see if it would impact demand. And to my surprise, the demand didn't drop. We still had record sales per month. Then I reached out to my existing client base and told them that we were increasing prices soon, and gave them an explanation as to why. I essentially told them that this was the best way to facilitate growth, provide better service, and match what the market price is for our level of service. I was also honest and told them I was working twice as hard to bring in the same profits I was generating years ago, and that I couldn't keep doing this anymore. And look, it wasn't an easy conversation for me to have. I definitely think I could have done a few things differently, but most of the clients were really respectful and understanding of the situation. I think if I were to do this again, I wouldn't give everyone a 3-month notice period to prepare. I also think I should have asked my team to help facilitating some of the conversations so that the pressure wasn't all on me, but it was 100% the best decision for the business. Fast forward 6 months and my business has been thriving. I've been able to allocate funds to things that needed improvement. Our team morale has completely flourished and we're handling everything so much better. But for me, it was necessary for the business to continue to succeed. My number one goal is to make sure my employees and my clients are happy. And so far, I think this was the best move for me to keep achieving that goal. The point of all this is just to encourage you to relook at your prices if your business is struggling to meet demand. It could be the smartest move you make. I hope I've succeeded in helping you navigate how to approach this topic. But of course, if you have any questions you would like to ask or experiences you'd like to share, feel free to drop them in the comment section below. Otherwise, that's it from me. I'll see you guys next time.